Hello, Sanjay,
Hi, Sheba.
and welcome to SoulBrews with Sheba in Coffee and Soul. I'm so delighted to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting.
It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you for agreeing to spend this time with me on a Saturday morning.
I think looking forward to it.
Lovely, thank you. Well, I believe you do have your cup of coffee with you.
I do. I do.
So what I will do is pour myself one as well, and if we can just, it's been a while, and
Is this the time
cheers.
for your normal coffee, Sheba?
Sorry?
Is this the time for your normal coffee cup?
It is. I have a couple of coffees in the day, so this definitely is. So cheers, Sanjay.
Yes.
Great to see you. So I'm going to ask you to hold this cup of coffee in your hands,
Okay.
and if you can just close. See, you've already done it. You close your eyes, and as you sit here with this cup of coffee in your hands, what's the image that comes to your mind?
I can see, a jogging track with greens around, the reds in between.
Wow.
I guess at this moment of time, health is a focus. That is what is coming in mind.
Yeah. What does it tell you? What does it tell you about the image? What is it saying? You spoke about health. What else is it telling you?
I think, okay, now I can describe it in many ways, but what comes top of mind is this is a destination. This is what at this moment of time is a priority. This is where I need to be. And this is where I need to keep on working so that I remain healthy. That is the priority. I guess the color and the contrast tells me it is also beautiful to be there.
Oh, that's very beautiful. Yeah. And what has made the focus on health happen? Have there been some, is it because of the current situation, or what has been the trigger on this one, Sanjay?
You know what? Nothing in particular, but a lot of small triggers put together. I guess, priority changes over a time, Shiva. And there was a time when I was growing up and all it was about success, doing well. Then there was a time about, defining doing well. At this moment of time, I guess, there is this life that I have to live. I came alone, I'll go alone. And the most important thing which will go along will be the health. That is what will decide how I grow up in all times. I focus back on them, trying to prepare them in an area which I have normally neglected. There is no particular threat per se, but there is always this back of the mind that I should be prepared for my old days.
That is fantastic. So obviously there is something that is telling you that this needs to be focused on. And are you finding joy in doing that, Sanjay?
Yes. You know what?
Yeah.
Because it is not a new thing that I wasn't aware about, but the fact that it was not a priority, I neglected it. And now to change that into finding a synergy between what I intend to do and what I'm doing, it's a joy.
Lovely.
Guilty otherwise.
Lovely. I understand. I see some lovely masks behind you, and it adds so much of color and dimension to what is this about? Is it what do these mean to you?
This is a room in our home.
Yeah.
Is what we call as an entertainment room.
Right.
We have TV here. Shlok has his PlayStation here. This is where we get together as a family.
Right.
This has become my office.
Okay.
This is how I operate. Yeah. Work from home. Yeah. The masks that you see behind, each one of them are a memory of a country we would have traveled together and we would have picked up, or a place we have been.
All right. Lovely.
All over the world.
Yeah. Lovely. Is there one particular one that you like the most? Is there something that...
There are many of them, but then there's one Mexican thing. I'll have to just and show it to you. See if you can. Can you see this one?
Yes.
The one which is beaded, actually. The gold color cutting. Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
That was something that I picked up in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Mona wasn't there with me, so I was just trying to figure out what should I carry back home.
Okay.
I know that
Okay.
Mona loved mask, and that is how I picked it up.
Yeah. It's very beautiful. Lovely. And I got to see the whole wall. So obviously there's been a lot of travel,
Yes, that.
and that's wonderful. Sanjay, if I was to ask you, if you reflect on your life till now, what are some of the highs, some of the lows, and some of your key learnings thereof? Because I know you've lived a very rich life, but also a very reflective orientation that you've always had.
Shiva, so, my life has been a blessed life.
Yeah.
Uh, if I were to take you through my river of life and tell you about my first impression of life, it's about a very rich childhood where I had, we were seven siblings.
Mm.
I was number six in order, and there were so many of them to take care of me, over and over my dad. The only bad memory is that I lost my mom at a very early age.
Mm.
I was about, 5 years old when I lost her. And my first picture or my first image of my childhood actually, and I don't even know that is real or if this is what I keep on creating, is about my mom's body and the fact that I'm told to go and touch her feet because they will take her to burn her away. But I guess everything happens with a purpose, and we bonded extremely well as a family because we were without mother.
Mm.
That I was a beneficiary of that. I was child. Everybody was nice to me. They took care of me, and I hence believe that my childhood was very rich. Uh, you know uh, that call it a low as well as call it a high. I guess the first other low that came in life was when, unlike my normal perceived reflection about who I am, I did not do well in academics.
Mm. Mm.
I was expected to be something more academic, do well because I was considered to be a bright guy,
Mm.
both by my family members, the people that I always wanted to, make them happy, and as well as my friend circle. But the fact that I'm a passionate guy and I always get, uh, deep into something, and when I get into something, that becomes only priority. I actually did not do so well in academics initially.
Mm.
Then there was a time when I still believed that, I have not done well because I chose not to do well.
Mm.
And I will do well if I choose to do well.
Mm.
That belief further got shattered because when I wanted to do well, I could not do well.
Mm.
And that was the time when I realized that, each one of us will not be good in what we want to do.
Mm.
And hence we need to figure out what are we really good in.
Mm.
As luck would happen, I got into this place, which was an MBA. When I went for my entrance exam, unlike the previous exams that I was giving, this one came so easily. It looked like, I can just walk through that any day.
Mm.
Honestly speaking, life has been a walkthrough since then. Things have been very hunky-dory. I have got into career, I have had my own ups and downs, but most of the time, life has paid and given huge dividends for whatever little work that I have done.
Mm. And what do you think made that happen? Apart from the fact there is grace and you've been lucky and you said very fortunate and blessed. But
So,
what?
on a reflection, now it looks like, if you were to read my childhood, was I a studious kid? No. I would
Mm.
study for the exam and do well.
Mm.
Would I play games and be sporty? I was.
Mm.
Was I the kind of guy who would participate in all kind of events? I was. So in many senses, I was an all-rounder.
Mm.
But the choices of career that I was trying to make was more driven by what was so-called a good career, as either perceived in the society, or in my case, being a small in the family, dictated by my parents or my brothers or my sisters.
Mm. Mm.
And for me, anything was possible was the belief, and hence it was okay. I guess the fact is, when you lose something in life,
Yeah.
that is the time you learn more. So when I failed badly, it was a wake up call, because if I would have succeeded, I possibly would have succeeded in so called academics, but I
Mm.
think I would have gone and created a career which I would have hated whole of my life.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
lucky in the sense that, God intervened, made sure that I meet failure, I reflect, I course correct, and that's
Mm,
what happened. And as regard to MBA, see, when MBA happened more accidentally, truth be
mm,
told, I wasn't very well aware that, what kind of things happens in MBA. I was
mm,
in that moment of time
mm,
trying to look for success more than anything else because I was failure in doing something else. I was rather wanting to associate with some success. But when I got into it, when I
mm,
got exposed to it,
mm,
suddenly opened up a new window and I realized this is something that I really like.
mm,
So when you're talking about something, the papers, the kind of things that happens is what I was doing. So say for
mm.
example, I did not do well in academics because I was so driven by stock market and I was
Yeah,
wanting to put my energy there. As I got into MBA, I realized during my interviews that the students were talking about stock market. It
right,
belonged.
right, right.
Otherwise I would have ended up being an engineer, but here is what I was doing. And this was
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
why it happened. I guess it happened in my case more because of my destiny. But as I said, I was possibly not well aware about all the options that existed. And one of the things that, as a kid, I could have done more was look for more options, be more thoughtful. But I guess
Mm.
such is life.
And you have not suffered because of that. It's been great for you. Yes.
In fact, landed up in the place where I belong.
Exactly. And that is amazing. That is amazing. So
That,
if I was to ask you, Sanjay, what is the adage that you live by? What is your metaphor for life? What would you say it would be?
you know, uh, difficult for me to say that because they have changed over the time. But if I were to pull back, look at my life, describe what I have, see, I think I've been a driven guy. The sense of being, going after challenge and, doing things which are not easy to be done.
Mm, mm,
And through that feeling a sense of, satisfaction that I can create something
mm,
has given me joy.
mm,
Even in my academics, when I used to top in my class, I was not driven by academic excellence. I was more driven by relative competition that I should be the first in my class.
okay. All right.
If I were to look at the career today, my career also has, in many senses, told me these are the goals that you need to go after. Hit those milestones. Most of the time, my default behavior has been to go after them. I though want to say that, Sheba, that this is not what I think I am now. In many senses, my purpose of today is to more, keep on doing something that I enjoy the most. And the beauty is,
Absolutely.
I enjoy my job. So
And that is lovely. Yes.
I do well, and I do like to do more of what I do now. Is
Yeah.
because this is what defines me. I really get a lot of pleasure in, uh, creating new successes for my organization. I get a lot of pleasure in cracking certain big puzzles which are in the marketplace, which can create a business opportunity. And most importantly, I think I get a very different kind of high and a kick working with the people. To get the best out of people, to see them unleash their potential, and to believe that in some way or other you could have contributed them to, in many cases, just to hold on, keep pushing, build up some resilience, share with them some perspective.
Yeah.
Very, very humbling experience and a very rich experience. I did.
Absolutely. Sanjay, to ask you, how do you motivate it? How do you motivate people? How do you inspire them? What is your mantra? I know that you believe in them and their potential, but and you're very caring of them. That is something that I've been aware of also in our long association. No, what is it that you do to inspire them?
I think more than what I do, it starts with how do I see them, and I see them as a person that any interaction with anyone makes me richer. I believe that I'm an incomplete set, and it is only with interactions I keep on adding on to myself. that enables me to give my full into that interaction. And depending upon the circumstances, who am I talking to, what can I offer him or her in that course of discussion, or what is my sense of responsibility for that need at that moment of hour. The behavior changes by people to people. There
Yes.
is no one way of doing it.
Yeah.
But most of the time, one of the things that I have believed is that you have to respect the person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to, the default should be the trust, not the other way. And third thing is that, appreciation should come more naturally and more often. Uh, I guess, yes, this is it. This is what you do. You start with the trust. You respect a person. And if you appreciate, he is in a position where he can take all shit from you also. Because he
Right.
took it to you.
I suppose it's the fact that they know that you believe in them, essentially in the person. If you believe in the person, that gives them the freedom to go and experiment, sometimes make mistakes because you have their back. Would I
Yeah.
be correct in saying that, Sanjay?
As I keep on saying, to me, this is destiny. I think I'm blessed with the fact that I have always found people who have had a lot of trust on me.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
has allowed me to be myself, at times taking liberty on them. But I guess there are times when I go wrong. I need to pull back. I need to apologize. I need to course correct and move on. But yes, people have normally always been kind to me. They have trusted me a lot. And that has been a strength. That has been a blessing.
I guess you bring that out in people, isn't it? If there is anything if you could have, if you had something that you would have done differently, is there anything as you reflect that you feel, maybe this?
You know, uh, Let me put it this way that, I was very fond of reading. I was blessed to be in company of people who are so accomplished. In spite of that, most of my life, I have done mistakes to learn. I have not learned from the books naturally. I have not learned from the people naturally. But I have rather done the karma, the action, faltered, fallen, and then look back, reflected, and then link the thought back to the book, back to the people. I guess, one of the funny things that happens now is that I really enjoy all my failures. I look back and I realize, that that is a clear indication of how I'm growing.
Yes,
And I believe that, it's a beautiful life. I'm somewhere in this life.
that's
And,
beautiful.
walking the path, and it is only going to be enriching. It is only going to be beautiful than what I have experienced. And it will be that way till the time I am there.
And if I was to ask you, and just picking up from what you're saying, and it's beautiful, if you had a message to give to the younger ones who are just starting out right now, and you have a son also, I know, who is very interesting in the kind of things that he does, Shlok. But if you were to give some advice to people who are starting out on their careers, what would you tell them? What is it that they must, some key things that they must do as they journey on?
Two pieces, Sheba. I just want to first admit something and then I will give you the advice. See, I have had this default thing about advising people because primarily, I just told you a while back that I'm interested in their well being.
Yes,
But
yes,
what I've realized over a time, that for you to advise, you need to be a role model. You cannot be advising based on what you theoretically know, but your actions should be in symmetry with what you advise. I have I have missed this part many times, and hence I'm very careful in advising people now.
yeah,
I just want you to give that as a qualifier
fair enough.
before I jumping into advice. At this moment of time, if I have to advise Shlok, if I have to advise anybody, people who are young, people who are old, my advice actually will be that life is meaningless. Don't take it too seriously. You have to just enjoy every day. Keep finding happiness there, and that is life. Past is beautiful, but past is no guarantee of what your future will be. Future can have lot of opportunities, but future is uncertain. So there you are. You know, like
Absolutely.
I've had sleepless nights in my career. There have been times I have, had my butterflies in my stomach thinking through how do I do well in my career? How do I crack this milestone? How do I do this? I think today that, the highest probability of success to achieve anything in life for me or for anyone would come if he was not having this insecurity, but he was rather enjoying that moment. That,
So it's about being in the moment and just enjoying it, not look for too much outside, but take your happiness in this. Am I right in that, Sanjay?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When you are into it, you are into it, and that doesn't make you short-sighted. You should always have an end in mind. But the truth is, it is that act which will drive the standards up or the outcome up. And beyond a point, again, somewhere spiritually linking it back to, certain belief systems also that I have. The fact that you are doing that karma, that itself is a blessing. Why should outcome be anyway, even your consideration?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so profound. The fact that you're doing the karma is in itself a blessing. Why bother yourself with the outcome?
Yeah, yeah. This is what in Bhagavad Gita they call it as a nishkam karma.
Yes, yes.
That part of it. And who better but you? I remember telling me first about this. I don't know whether you remember that or not,
It
but there
was a
was
long time ago, yes.
some part of it came from you.
Yeah, there was some great conversations we had, Sanjay, and I remember those very fondly. You are also very fond of poetry and Hindi poetry.
That's right.
And I'd love to hear some of your favorite lines before I ask you a couple of final questions, but some of the lines that really are meaningful for you.
So, the best thing about poetry is that they can just stir your emotions. They can make sense of the whole life in those couple of lines. And that is why they are so beautiful. At different moment of time in my life, I have, gone to, became fond of different kind of poets.
Yes.
But a couple of things that I've realized is that, my thinking more happens in Hindi, and that is how Hindi,
Yes.
and since you asked for it, and I just spoke a while back about the intention and the action.
Yes.
Let me tell you, there is a profound book written by Jaisankar Prasad in Hindi, which is called Maini.
Kamayani.
It was a book which had earned a Gyanpith Puruskar also. So there is a particular time in that book, in a particular context, the Indian version of Adam and Eve are talking to each other. And he says, Gyan dur kuch kriya bhinna hai, which means you have a knowledge and you have an action. But there are two poles about it. Gyan dur kuch kriya bhinna hai, इच्छा क्यों पूरी हो मन की, एक दूसरे से ना मिल सकें, यही विडंबना है जीवन की.
Wow, क्या बात है, beautiful, beautiful.
And that is the truth of life. The day you have a symmetry, you could be, possibly you don't have to be alive anymore. Right. And
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Just came to me now because I think it is the context that you have created. But it is something that I am always fond of.
Yes.
And I am fond of it not because I live by it. I'm also fond of it because I have really let myself down multiple times.
Sure. And and that's what makes it so authentic and so real, Sanjay. And that's the one thing I appreciate over the years about you so much, is your authenticity. You are who you are, and that is beautiful. If I was to ask you your unique legacy, I believe each person has their own unique something to contribute that nobody else can. Because that's what, that's another dimension of that multifaceted oneness. To you, what do you think your unique lens, your unique legacy to humankind, what would it be?
Yeah. Again, you see, as I talk about it, I can tell you more about what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Whether I'm there, that is for, if you put a hard yardstick, the answer is no. But that is where the aspiration is. See, I believe in this world. It is beautiful that we have so many people around. And there are people who have, who require needs and supports, and through your support, they can get somewhere. I just hope, that with the people who have touched my life, if they ever were to look back and say that I was standing next to them when they wanted me, that would be a life well lived. Uh, have I been able to do that? It's a mixed bag, more no's than yes. But I still have a life to live. I'll get better.
That is amazing. So standing behind people who really matter to
Yeah.
you, and that's like a lifetime aspiration. And it's it's the sheer humility of that is very touching, Sanjay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, sir.
that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. What value do these kind of conversations have for you?
Mind grows in
Yeah.
these conversations.
Yes.
When mind grows, you looking at past, start looking at now and planning for future, and you realize you are far more well equipped because suddenly now you have a new way of looking at things.
Sure.
You were the way you were. So, when I talk to you, when I reflect on those times, and when I suddenly find a new truth, if I may say so, or a new perspective, I think it makes my mind grow. And I feel blessed that I'm in that moment. Because every time the mind grows, it unlocks some pain of the past. It gives meaning to something. It gives meaning and makes something more beautiful when there is nothing now. And that is enriching. That to me is, I don't know how do I say that. Maybe that is the quest of learning that I have, or that is the way I look at life. But for me, a conversation like this, doing a particular assignment, and then thinking about after that assignment about the actions that I took and why I took, both on success and failure, is as enriching as the action itself. That is to me, because that prepares me for winning in the next action.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is how it is. That is how it is. So, talking to you, listening to you, what is important is I'm talking to myself. I'm not talking to you actually. I'm talking to myself. And equally, having being inquisitive, and that is what I said, to figure out what is Sheba doing? Why is she doing this? Okay, this is how you look at it. And that is how you keep on thinking and you keep on growing. And some of them are nuggets, and when they connect dots, they create life.
Sanjay, it's been an absolute delight to speak with you.
Is it 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your your comments. More than anything else, it's the ability to reflect and being open to share. I think that is really important, because you never know what kind of an impact it could have on anybody who's listening. Either a parallel processing going on, or something that they can take, or something that they can juge with, just be with. So really appreciate your taking the time to do this with me. And
it was a very effortless exercise with you, Sheba. Thank you for having me, as I said.
Thank you so much, Sanjay, and all the very best. Thank you. Thank you.